My name is Huff, and this is my 2002 Silverado. I got the truck roughly 2.5, almost 3 years ago. It started off as a 4.8 4L60 two-wheel drive, obviously. It's now a 6.2 4L80 truck. I had a 4.8, I cammed it. I did a fuel system, Hellcat pump, dash 6 lines. I put a stock 480 in it with a Summit Racing converter. Then I threw the turbo on. That turbo blew, or the motor blew on that. Then I built the 6.0 block, punched it to a 6.2, forged the bottom end, ARP'd every bolt I could find. Then the tranny blew. Then I bought another stock tranny with a shift kit. That blew. Then I bought a Jake's Performance Stage 3 with billet, input shaft, and all that good stuff. That's holding. That's what's in it currently. Yeah, like I said, so it's a 6.0 block punched out to a 6.2. It's got a BTR truck Norris cam. It's got BTR head gaskets. It's got 660 valve springs. It's stainless steel valves. It's got 1,000cc injectors, FIC injectors on the stock rail. It's got a Hellcat pump, like I said. It's got, what is it, DJM upper and lower control arms, Viking front coilovers. I've replaced all that when I first got the truck. That was like the first thing I did. Got a 4-link in the rear. That's done by Gomez Drops and Rialto. It's got 20-inch GMR wheels, 20 by 10 in the front, 20 by 12 in the rear. I want to say it's a 4-inch lip in the front, 4.5-inch lip in the back, 305s in the back, 265s in the front. I built it myself in my garage. I did everything but the 4-link in the paint. So if it falls apart, I'm the only person I can blame.
Oh, hell no!
Just for reliability purposes, I just figured I personally don't want to be in here pulling a motor out again, so let's just forge it. Let's ARP it. Let's just kind of build it to give it some longevity, make some power, and make it reliable. So that's how I got the 6.2. The block was done by HPS in Ontario. Tap into the motor a little bit more. I want to say they're scar rods, JE pistons. Like I said, they're forged. That's just for strength. That's just for reliability, obviously. They're gapped like 25 pounds or so. BTR head gaskets, I got like the full gasket set essentially, just because it's BTR. Can't go wrong. And it's affordable. Front rear mainsail, OEM, obviously, because OEM is king, right? OEM water pump, obviously. ARP head studs. Just because obviously the stock ones are torque to yield, so once you take them off, you can't reuse them. And I want something that was gonna, hold down if I did put it on 20 pounds of boost. You're already there. You guys might as well replace them with something stronger. So I did that. Stock. These are $7.99 heads that we had laying around, and like I said, I just got them rebuilt. I didn't go get Frankensteins. I didn't go get trick flows, and I'm sure they're great and everything, but keep it more on a budget side because I'm not a baller, Rebuilt stock heads, basically put stainless steel valves in them, 660 BTR, or they dual spring valve springs in them. Michigan Motorsports rocker arms, the Trinium upgrades or whatever. Did all that fun stuff. I studded the exhaust manifold, bolts or whatever. Just because that's easier. When I was putting the turbo kit on, I was by myself originally, so to get the manifold on, with one hand and put a nut in there or a bolt in there was kind of like hard for me. So I just studded it, Made it simple. Put metal gaskets on it. A couple weeks ago, I blew the head gaskets. Thanks for reminding me. I blew the head gaskets. The vacuum line popped off the wastegate. And I don't know how much boost it built, but it lifted the heads. So I had the heads resurfaced, put a 5-layer BTR head gasket on it, LS9 6062 gaskets. It also has LS7 lifters because I wasn't going to pay for the Johnson lifters. Boost line fell off because I didn't put a clamp on it, and it's a rubber vacuum line, so it got hot, I'm assuming, and it swelled up and slid off the tile wastegate. And that was a dumb mistake, but we fixed that since then. It's got some clamps on there. I forget what it really has done sometimes because I'm just like, because of how I built it, it was like in stages. You know what I mean? I didn't have a blank check and was like, I'm gonna just order all this stuff and it's, you know what I mean, and we're good to go. It was kind of like as I was going, I was figuring things out. I guess that's how it goes for most people. But this is my first time building something with power that's fast or not stanced out and cambered and tilted, you know. So I know what's going on. I know how things are supposed to work and whatnot. For the most part, I don't, you know, this was just my first attempt at something. I grew up around Chevy, so I always wanted one. But anyways, spark plug wires are Scott's. The reason why I have Scott's or Scott's Racing or whatever they are, is because Summit had a sale. So I caught a sale, got 15% off, and got those. That's why they're there. I have the oil cap to AN fittings. So I don't have an oil cap. I have an adapter that runs AN fittings that goes to my oil catch can. I run 2 passenger side valve covers on both sides. So I have 2 vents for the catch can. It goes to the True Focus Fab catch can coolant reservoir setup. The reason why I have that is because when I put the turbo on here, the stock coolant reservoir, 1 is plastic, 2 was extremely close to the turbo, and I saw some guys like caddy corner them and like Mickey Mouse them to fit to save a couple bucks, and I get it, but I just figured spend the extra couple bucks, you know, save a check or two, get something that just bolts in, looks good, works properly, just to kind of help it clean up a little bit. And another reason was because when I popped that 4.8, but not knowing, I mean, I knew it didn't have a tune, but I really honestly thought that it had crate case pressure, and I didn't have it vented properly. So I thought like that's part of the reason why I blew it. So this kind of like solved more than one issue for me at the same time. So I was like, just spend the money and get it done, you know. It came with an LS essentially, so I didn't personally have to buy a harness. This is my stock factory 4.8 harness still, obviously. But I just went with what was in a budget range that I was comfortable with spending. You know what I mean? Like what would work with this platform? Like, yeah, people are swapping LTs into them and putting Hollies in them and all that. And I wasn't gonna go spend the money on a Holly if my stock harness could work. Obviously, like I said, I wanted to keep it simple, simplicity. I felt like days where you're on the side of the road at 10:30 at night after some car meet, you know what I mean? Like I want to be able to trace back what the issue is, like troubleshooting, you know what I mean? And I feel like the further you get away from OEM, the harder it is. Essentially, you know, is how I view it. There's too many things to like go back over, you know. So I kept my setup stock. This truck was meant to be on the street.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Or you know what I mean? Have some fun, see what it does. But I never wanted it to leave the street. I mean, that's why I kept my AC and everything else full interior, because I wanted my grandpa to be able to hop in the truck and go have fun and just, you know, make it faster than stock. This thing was like 150 bucks. I was already in the process of doing the lines and the fill pump to be able to turbo it. So I figured let's put aftermarket on it, set it where I want it, has a gauge, it works. Why not, you know? So that was like an accessory to turboing it. The oil feed, I guess, is another like knick-knack thing. Some people, it's obvious, it's simple, but there's a plate above the oil filter. I run, I have like a sandwich plate that basically one feeds the turbo, but it doubles as an oil cooler, which is down in here. So it runs. I think they're tens, and I think they're eights or 10-10 or eight lines. Same spot as the feed for the turbo. Again, that was like cheap insurance to me. You know what I mean? LS and oil kind of don't go hand in hand from the things that I've seen from other friends and my tuner and family members and everybody else that has LS based cars. They have oil pressure issues, things like that. So I figured let's add more oil to the system, keep that same oil cooler. Can't hurt. I already got to take it off and do an oil feed, so why not get a 2-in-1? So that's how that got there. Um, Speaking on oil, it's a Millings oil pump, high flow, high capacity. So I got that. So it, trying to keep the oil stuff going. I think so. The hot side on this truck was like an off the shelf kind of thing. It was a kit that was specifically made for 99 to 14 Silverados, I think it was. So I didn't have much guesswork on that. I think the biggest hurdle some LS I see the guys like you're saying, guys that are LS already, whether it's in a G body, a truck, it came with LS or not, whatever. I think the biggest discussion I hear, like at meets and whatnot, or is like the turbo sizing. How do I size the turbo for my LS? Um, I personally think you got to think about what your car is being built for. Again, this is supposed to be on the street. I wasn't gonna go with the T6 flange, you know, 100 millimeter, 90 millimeter, some crazy Texas 2K speed type of turbo that takes 3 years to build up boost. I want something that was a little more instant, a little peppy. I'm not building something that's going to top out at 180 on the street. I'm building something that's going to go from light to light and just put down power now and enhance the natural power curve is what I was aiming for. This, like I said, is a 7875 VS Racing Turbo. It's a 96 AR on the backside, 3-inch downpipe. It works. It has little to no lag. Um, I think it starts getting into boost around 2,000 RPMs on this setup, and carries on to about 7,000 RPMs. But it works. It works for what I want it to do, and I'm not maxing it out. I'm right in the efficiency range right now. I think it maxes out at like 950. I think they told me. So it's not struggling to make the power it does make. It's pretty instantaneously, kind of like a supercharger would be, I guess. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of LS guys need to size their turbos right for what they're doing. I think they need to put fuel in it. I mean, it's common knowledge nowadays. You know what I mean? I feel like people have been doing LS swaps for so long that there's kind of already like a remedy to it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you buy a Gen 4 block, you do this, you do that, you send it, and then wait till it breaks. The stock exhausts on a Silverado, they have the crossover from stock. After that crossover to the exhaust is pretty much where this downpipe met at. I think it was like an 8-inch, 9-inch section that I had to get welded in. And that's also a V-band, so I could take the exhaust off. But yeah, it's a V-band 3-inch. That was part of the hot side kit when I bought it. It came with the downpipe, the manifold situation. The crossover it came with, I personally modified. It came with like a 2-bolt 38 millimeter style wastegate flange. I hacked that off. It's got a 50 mil tile wastegate. It's got a 50 mil tile wastegate, and then I had to shorten it an inch and a half or so for ground clearance. And I just clocked the wastegate to keep it off the floor and shoot the flames down or whatever. It's a 5.8 drop, 5.9 drop. I'm sorry, 5.9 drop. Hurdles. I bought off the shelf stuff. I bought stuff that was specific to the truck, obviously. 99 through 06. Atomic Fab brackets are great for coilover conversions. The guy, I forget his name, but the guy that runs that store, that website, he's good. He's awesome. He answers all your questions. he asks you what you're doing with it, so he can see the right spring rates and all that good stuff. I had no issues with the front when I first got the truck. It was on some like eBay like hack kind of suspension setup, like busted ball joints, and it's got like lowering springs and some drop shocks, and he's sending it. You know what I mean? And when I got it, it was like shaking and clapping, and it just made a lot of noise. It was one of the things when I bought the truck, I knew like I have to address the suspension on it because with no power, it doesn't handle very well. So that was the first thing I did actually to the truck when I first bought it. It was like a month in. I started with the rack and pinion. I dropped the rack, all the arms came off, all the front suspension came off, and I started over. So I put a new rack in it, lower arms, upper arms, put the spindles on, coilovers on, and then I did a twisted metal bump steer kit with tie rod ends, so like Heim jointed and all that good stuff. You just drill the knuckle, throw those on there, so those are on there as well. So that took care of that problem, you know what I mean? And then in the rear is a 4-link. I got rid of it had drop blocks or whatever. It had a flip kit and blocks, basically. It rode smooth. It was cool, you know. I had the front on coils, the back was stock, you know, it was cool. But I knew I wanted to go 4.8 turbo at the time. So I personally was going to go, what are they, the cow bars, track bars? I was going to do that setup, but when it came down to handling the back suspension, you know, after it was boosted and whatnot, I had a good check. I'll just say it. I had a good check, and I said, you know what? Let's just get the 4-link handled now and knock it out of the way, and I never have to address this again, you know? So I dropped the truck off in between motors, actually. I dropped the truck off as a shell. Gomez drops in Rialto. Hella cool guys. I want to say it's family owned. I think it's like a father and son kind of thing. They did the 4-link. Took them like 3 days. Simple, easy. It was good to go, and I never have to. I don't worry about it now. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about like wheel hop or anything. It's all full coilovers in the back. They're Alden coilovers. Also threw in an underbed notch. I think that's good for like a 10-inch drop or something. So future plans, I would like to get a drag pack, I guess, like everybody else. Just to see what it does. Just, you know, the days I want it to hook and go play around, throw a drag pack on, and you know, that'd be the only future plans. Like I said, that street truck to me, it you know, it's where I want it to really be. But I understand that it doesn't hook, so to make it hook, I got to put a tire on it. Or I could put some Mickey Thompsons on this. Mickey Thompson sells this size tire for the rear, but in a street slick or something like that. The cab's stock. I mean, it's full interior, if that's what you mean. It's center consoles like out of like an extended cab or whatever the case is. Um, so I took the bench seat out. It's got PRP seats in it. So some guys may know that as like the pre-runner style trucks. They run those kind of seats, so they're suspension seats. They reupholstered with the Chevy logo and suede and all that good stuff. I have like an NRG setup, quick release, D&D, suede steering wheel, color match to the seats. I have one gauge pod on the steering column. Keep it simple. It reads AFR and boost, and that's all I've done to the interior. Honestly, I kept it stock. I kept it simple. It has all DS18 sound system in it, and two 12-inch kickers in the back with a matching amp. It's like I said, it's full interior. No race truck stuff here. It's stock and quiet. You roll the windows up, you don't hear anything. It's great. I love it. It's like the sleeper in it. You know what I mean? Well, like a little. The seats make you feel like you're in something cool, but but it still feels stock. I guess I don't know. It's like a nice blend to me. It's not overdone. It's not like gimmicky. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like it's not all red and suede and cow skin and I don't know. Like it's basic. You know what I mean? So it's pretty stock in there. In a billet shifter. That's it. My favorite part of my truck. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I think just overall how it looks, the stance of it, the color of it, the way everything blends. Like my goal originally when I got this, like everybody I guess was like a OEM plus SS kind of thing. Obviously, bubble eyes weren't made in SS, so my thing was if Chevy did make a 99 through '02 SS, what would it look like? That was my vision. That was my idea behind it all. You know, it was like, how would they have made it? So obviously black. So it got black. Um, it's an HD grill and bumper, cowl hood. I feel like that would be somewhat how they would do a sports truck. RST spoiler, and that's it. And then I cut the bed. I cut like 3 inches out the bed at the bottom of it, where the roll pans at and everything. Like I said, I hacked that out to give like that Nash truck kind of look, like a sporty look, you know. So I don't know. I just think the way it sits, the way it looks, the wheel combo, the color combo, I think that's my favorite part is its appearance itself, is how it looks. Like, even if it had a stock 48 in it, I would still love the way it looked. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a dog and slow, but I think the way it looks, it catches some people's eyes. It's, it's clean enough. It's, seeing it looks good. I feel like in the truck community, what I see is like you're either all show or you're all go. And that's cool, you know what I mean? But like the show trucks are 26s, tubbed, sitting back, sunroofed out, crazy paint, whatever, like, and that's cool. And then the fast guys are like, yeah, it's got a black fender, red tailgate, tranny sitting up here, bottle in the trunk, and it does the number, it does what it's supposed to do, but it doesn't look the best all the time. And like I said, race cars are gonna have race car things like parachutes, 15 by 10s, slicks, like, you know what I mean? That's gonna add to the look or take away from the look. They do things that make power, and put the power down. I don't think they always look the best. So I think to me it's a perfect blend of what would a street truck look like. Once I get my fill system done and it makes, let's say, 800 horsepower, what is the 800 horsepower street truck supposed to look like? You know what I mean? In my vision, it looks like this. It looks sporty, OEM plus kind of vibe. You know what I mean? I think that's a good blend. It's function and style at the same time. That's what my goal is. This transmission, this motor, this suspension, like you know what it is on a build is that people will tell you like it's $200 for this or $1,000 for that, and it's always the little stuff. You know what I mean? It's when I did this coolant tank, the rubber elbow that comes out of it, I switched up. I didn't use the stock one. That took $20 at AutoZone, and then like Silverado guys will know that there's like on the coolant neck down there, there's like a T fitting that goes to the heater core, reservoir down to the pump, water pump. They're plastic. I had to go find one that was metal, and you know what I mean. Like it's always the little knick-knack stuff, so like that people forget. But like I think that's how you get to that $30,000-$40,000 range. All the little stuff, you know what I mean? The vacuum lines that you don't think about doing in your turbo in your car until you're there. You're like, oh yeah, I need vacuum lines to go to the store. Like little stuff like that. Like I said, I would say 30 to 40 grand roughly into this. I definitely think if you want to make a easy 600 horsepower LS turbo build, you don't need to forge it. You don't need to cam it if you don't want to. You know what I mean? You don't have to throw head studs in it. You technically could have a 6.0 block, literally bone stock out of an Escalade, slap a turbo on it, such as this one, and run it. You can put some injectors in it, put some fuel in it, and send it. It may not last. I mean, I don't think it's smart to not put head studs in something or whatever, but can you do it? Yes. You could probably turbo realistically an LS for under $4,000 technically, if you know what I mean. Technically, how long or reliable is that setup? I have no idea. I wasn't gonna be the one to find out, but like I said, when it was a 4.8, that was more so me budgeting, trying to get it turboed, using what I had. It came with a 4.8. Let's work with the 4.8, see what it does. I was just an idiot and jumped on it with no tune, and it popped. But now that motor's in a Monte Carlo that's supercharged. So I got this truck because I personally wanted a truck since I was a mustache, a kid basically. I don't know how to just I like other builds besides Chevy trucks, obviously. This was more so like my Toodle was still like a childhood dream. This is what I saw like my godfather in and whatnot. He had old C10s and square bodies and OBSs, and that's what I saw as a kid when he picked me up on the weekends was a Chevy truck, short bed, big back window, whatever it was. So when I got to an adult, I wanted one. That's why I got this. But would I build a different car with the LS in it? Absolutely. 1,000%. I wouldn't even hesitate because it just makes sense. Like I have buddies that drift, and I'm telling them like you guys are blowing up SRs and KAs and JZs and all that. You can literally go find one. We found you a block for $300. It's like you're not finding a JZ block for $300. You're not finding an SR block for that. You're not going to run to AutoZone and get a starter for it tomorrow. So I think the convenience of an LS, how many there are, they came in everything. It's like it's the accessibility of it, getting parts, getting your hands on it. This whole truck was bought off Summit Racing. Every part was off Summit, Jegs, Michigan Motorsports, for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, or a local place out here in SoCal that had a fitting or this or that. But like a G&J aircraft in Ontario, like that's where the fill system's from. It's like it's just easy on certain things. It's just easy. It just makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, so yes, I would put this swap in a G sedan. If I still had my old G sedan, I would have no problem throwing this in there, adapting it to a CD09, T56, whatever, and take off. So I encourage people to put LSs in everything. LS the world. Like I like them. They're simple. They make power. It's easy enough. Like what else do you want from a motor? I love it. That's it.